Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. This is Tower of God Season 2 Episode 6, the non-spoiler edition. So there aren't going to be too much spoilers. So let's get straight into it. We kick off where we stopped in the last episode, where all of a sudden Fug has shown up, right? And the members of Fug who are here are Jin Sang Ha and Hwariyun. Now Hwariyun and Jin Sang Ha showing up is a big thing because these are more members of Fug, one who we already know and one who we haven't met before. One of the first things we find out is that he is a high ranker. Now for a lot of people who don't know this here, when you complete climbing the tower, you are ranked each year in the tower, which is the reason why you're called a ranker. And the ranks go in numerical order, so you can be anywhere in a rank of numbers in the ranks. And when you come to a certain number in the ranks, you get what is called a high ranker, and that is the top 1000 in the tower. From the top 1000, they are considered high rankers. They're high rankers in other words, but they aren't the high rankers. And just above that level is the top 500. They are all considered high rankers, but the degree of difference between rank 500 and rank 499 is ridiculous, because once you start getting to those rankers, the difference in strength goes all the way from I can blow up a whole testing area to I can blow up an entire floor. That's how crazy their strength grows, and those are what you call high rankers. And Jin Sang Ha is one of the old high rankers in the tower, meaning that he is ridiculously powerful. So yeah, that's what he is. And in those high ranks, you get what is called the top 200 rankers. All of them are floor level disasters. When they fight, they are so disastrous that the administrators have to restrict floors. And obviously within those top 200, we know that 10 of them are the family heads. The family heads are ranked within the top 50. Within the top 50, because we don't know each and everyone's rank. We know that within the top 20, most of them fall in, and I think one falls just outside of the top 20. Other members of the tower fall inside there. So Jin Sang Ha is one of these ridiculously powerful rankers. He falls somewhere in the range between 70 and 50. And their power is ridiculous. As I said, the administrators actually restrict them on how much of power they can use. Moving on from this, we then obviously head to the apartment after obviously Bam knocks out Yua. Now there is one thing which wasn't in this whole thing. Yua doesn't get threatened by Jin Sang Ha. Instead, Jin Sang Ha actually looks at her and she just starts yammering off. She doesn't give us a point to stop yammering, and she's getting Jin Sang Ha a little bit frustrated because she says cheap perm and all these things. Obviously, for the sake of comedy, they have Bam agreeing that his perm is cheap, but everything else isn't true, right? Because she says a whole lot of insults while she's at it. And Bam tries to talk to her and she just doesn't listen, so he punches her out cold with a single hit. And that is when Jin Sang Ha says, you're really cold with the ladies. And then they head off to his apartment and they meet his new teammates. Now the reason they are there is Mashaya has basically adopted Viol as his brother. So they're part of the same family. So this is a big thing, and obviously since they're part of a family within Fug, it's kind of crazy. And he is the last person with any say with anything that happens with Bam. As a result of this here, we obviously can see that he sends Jin Sang Ha. Jin Sang Ha trains the Slayers. He is strong enough to actually fight most of the Slayers on his own, but definitely can't win against all of them. In order to beat them, you require a ridiculous amount of strength. He can fight most of them, but he can't beat most of them. They're that far out of his league. So anyway, that is where Jinsung Ha is in power, and I'm just talking about the Slayers here because Slayers actually form a part of what we're talking about. Then we get the whole deposition of what happened to Bam, and this is where a whole lot of things are cut out. So the whole talking story, there's another joke that's cut out, and the joke is every time you start bragging, Viol leaves because Jinsung Ha literally says, I'm not bragging or anything, but he's an amazing person. He picks up a skill on the first try every time. He's incredible. And when he says this here, everybody is stuck there because they don't know what to do. He's a high ranker, he's threatening them, and they don't know what to do to get away from him. So there was the whole joke in that one scene, and a little bit of comedy with the dark sense is quite a way to balance things out, but obviously for some reason or the other they decided that this was not suited for what we were going to get in the anime. Moving on from this here, we have the next crazy thing which happens, and that is when Jinsung Ha goes to talk to Bam, and he apologizes to Bam, and he says, you deserve to be happy. And you can see that he has pain in his eyes when he says this here to Bam. And in the next moment, we see that he looks out into the distance and he sees Karaka. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this here from the comic, but I believe that this is a scene from a future scene, or it could be that they're going to repeat the scene twice in this entire season. It's crazy like that there. But anyway, the next thing which happens is Waryun and Wagner start talking. And the first thing that Waryun does is she tells him, yeah, we're actually bad guys. We're really bad guys. We kidnapped his friends. He's an irregular. He can actually kill Jahad. When Wagner hears this here, his face goes pale. And she basically gives some pieces of hints to who Wagner really is. And we know they call him Arada. And anyway, the whole problem with that there is that now his name is Prince something. But anyway, while they're talking to each other, Waryun slips a sly comment and says, Prince of the Red Light District. When he hears this here, his eyes flicker up and he's wondering, how does she know that that's his title? Because he literally is a Prince of the Red Light District. So she tells him a whole lot of stuff, and we don't get the whole content of what's being said, but basically she implies that one of his best routes would be to use Bam to keep climbing the tower. It's one of the safest ways for him to go up. Now there's a reason for her saying this here, because she knows a secret that he doesn't. Obviously she's a guide, and guides can see the paths that are available for people. She then also explains everything about Bam's situation, as I've explained, and what happens is they skip all the way to the test. Now when they arrive at the testing area, the regulars testing area, the ranker shows up and he's like, the other team heard that Viol will be in this year, so they basically forfeited the match. They don't want to have a fight against you guys. So they're like, okay, so does that mean we pass? He said, no, we'll have an alternate test for you to go up to the next floor. So the alternate test was, as we saw, the Zigna flower. Now here is what you don't know. You have to wait for the Zigna to come up. The Zigna comes up to the surface for 2 hours every day to sunbathe. It turns every 30 minutes. This wasn't given in the deposition by the ranker to the regulars. They have that time to go in and find the flower and come out. If they can't find it, they fail. If they find it, they pass. So it seems pretty simple, but there has to be some danger. The parasites inside the Zigna flower are passive and will flee from anybody that they see. So this here already says that the Zigna parasites won't attack anyone. They're going to eat everything. However, when the body flips, it is extremely dangerous to be inside, because the whole place will tilt from the top to the bottom, and that's how it moves around. One of the things which was really odd is they know they have a 30-minute gap. So they knew exactly how long it was until the Zigna flipped again. So they weren't really worried about jumping over the gap. Wagner did worry. He says, what if we're still chasing that thing while we're out in the middle of this gap when the Zigna flips? That is all that he says. And it wasn't flow control. It was, what was it? Something field flow. And the whole idea behind this is that it stops enemy from moving forward in a line. It's like a little screen. Once it pops up, it knocks the enemy and the enemy is slowed down. That is the whole idea behind what Gowasang does. And we know as they chase, they end up coming to that point where the Zigna flower goes into a gap. When the Zigna flower goes into the gap, we get a similar story, but everybody is told to head to the next location where Miseng will show up if they can figure it out for themselves. So they take coordinates inside and they broadcast it across the lighthouse. So it's going everywhere, and they broadcast via the pocket. Prince and Huryang start running in the opposite direction, and they send out the message that there's somebody inside that room fighting with Viol, and he's really dangerous. He seems to be a ranker of some sort. And when they hear this here, everybody now converges on that area and they all get ready to attack. And that's basically where it stopped. But on this one here, we don't see the turn back. We don't see everybody trying to get into formation. We didn't get all of this here. We know that this is Mazino, Yurik Mazino from season 1, the big mention. We see his wing tattoo across his back. That's actually the wing tree tattoo. It's really special because they are called Wulayuk Song. In case anybody thinks this is a spoiler, this is season 1, Wulayuk Song, the silver wing tree, which is exactly one of the badges which was worn by the cutter wave controller who is part of Yuri's team. So just so that you know, that isn't a spoiler. And right then and there, we get the whole face of Bam is going to fight Yurik Mazino. Now, this is kind of a spoiler, kind of not a spoiler, because you already mentioned he's one of the strongest entities in the tower. He is one of the top 4 in the tower. He is that crazy powerful. And to be honest, mentioning the other 2 would be something crazy, but I'm not going to mention who they are. But I'll mention who number 3 is. Number 3 is King Jahad. He is the 3rd strongest in the tower. He falls behind 2 other really powerful individuals, so I'm not going to give you the names. And then is Yurik Mazino in 4th place. Now, that is all that I'm going to say about who Yurik is right now. In the next episode, we get to see the fight which happens between Bam and Yurik. And as we know, if Bam fails, his friends die. If he stops being a slayer, his friends die. If he does anything that Fag disagrees with, his friends die. So yeah, he's really shackled into what he's doing. So that is exactly where the episode ends. But here are the things that are missing from the context. We miss the whole idea of of Jinsang Ha and Karaka having a talk, because they do have a talk, and the talk is really friendly and it's not anything aggressive or dangerous. They have a talk before this test, and they're going to have another talk after this test. And that is one thing that you should know. It's going to happen. It should have happened. But Karaka and Jinsang Ha aren't really supposed to be in these areas. These are regular areas. However, they can appear in regular areas provided they keep their power under control. If they use any Shinsu based powers, they'll get kicked from the region, and that's just the way that it works in the tower. Now, those were a few things that you needed to know, and why these crazy powerful individuals aren't just instantly evaporating the regulars, why they're even willing to talk first and see how things go. I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.